This is the 9.3 lesson on rotations. A rotation is a rigid motion that turns a figure about a fixed point called the center of rotation. The angle of rotation is the number of degrees that the figure rotates. A positive angle of rotation turns the figure counterclockwise, and that's going to be important, so it's going to go backwards. Okay, so watch the figure that we have right here. This is our figure, and it is moving counterclockwise. So when we back that up, when it first starts to move, that's a 90-degree rotation right there. That is 180 degrees from its first original position. And that is 270 degrees from its original spot. And this is 180 degrees, so that makes one full. Okay, from here we're going to look at all three of these and see what is happening on each one. The very first one has rotated around the origin. The origin, remember, is 0, 0. So this one has rotated completely around the origin. Here's your origin. And as it rotated, it landed here. So it is at 270-degree rotation. Our second one has flipped over the axis or reflected. So this is our line of reflection right here. You can see it's 1 unit away from the line of reflection, and so is it here. And here's 2, and here's 2. Here's 3, here's 3. So this is a reflection, and it is over the x-axis. Our last one has just translated down 4 units. And you can tell each point has moved down 4 different units. Okay, let's look at the next 3 options that we have. The first one, you can tell that it has rotated, and it has rotated 90 degrees because it is from one section of our grid down to the bottom section of our grid. So it's a rotation of 90 degrees. The second one, as we're looking over it, it has flipped over the x-axis or reflected. Over the x-axis. And the last one has translated 5 units down. Hopefully these are getting pretty easy for you. Okay, this one you don't have anything to write on. I'm just going to show it to you real quick. We have the point P here, and we also have the origin. So once we have our origin point, we're going to move our point P around our origin. So it is going to rotate. So here is our new point P, so point P prime. And then we want to know what our angle of rotation is. So we're going to put our protractor in. So first we draw our line from our origin to both of the P and P prime. And then we're going to go ahead and put our protractor in right above it. So when we have our protractor, we're going to place the center of the protractor right over the origin. And then we're going to line up P with 0. And then we're going to track around to see where is that going to land. So we're going to start at 0 here. We're going to come around, and then we're going to read it. So it's between 130 and 140. So we're going to say it's at 135. So it was a 135-degree rotation. Now let's try it on our own. Okay, this is part 2 of your 9.3 notes. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find what I'm rotating around, and I'm rotating around the origin here. So I'm going to go ahead and put a dot there. Then I'm going to draw a straight line through A and another straight line through A prime. Once I have that, then I'm going to go ahead and move my protractor. I recognize that most of you don't have a protractor with you, so I'm just going to have you watch, and then I'm going to have you take care of it once you get back into class. So here's your protractor. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make that 0 line up with my line. So it lines up with A here, and then we're going to go around and we're going to see about where does it land. My line shifted off here. Let's see if I can draw that line in a little bit better. So that is a better line. So here it landed at 90. So we can see that it is a 90-degree rotation. And you can actually do that with any of them. So if you didn't want to do it with A, you could always put your origin in, and you could go with B and B here. In class, you're going to use the edge of your protractor as a ruler so you can get nice straight lines so that you don't make mistakes like I am. So we're going to go ahead and put it right on 180, and then we can see that our dot lines up right here with 90. Okay, so it is at a 90-degree rotation. Next example is pretty easy to see. We're starting at our point of origin, and we are going to look at K. So to go from K to the origin and then to K prime, you can see that that's going to be a straight line, and a straight line is always 180 degrees. So this particular one is 180 degrees. I want you to notice real quick that K is going to be -4, -2. K prime is going to be 4, 2. You notice they're exactly the same numbers, they're just switched signs. Okay, so your next problem just says if you have ABC and it maps to its image of ABC prime, so that A equals A prime, and B equals B prime, and C equals C prime, what is the angle of rotation? So we're going to go ahead and take a quick look at that. That means that A is also A prime, B is B prime, C is C prime. So all of those are exactly the same. Well, if it's already rotated, then we're going to say, okay, it's been a complete circle. So that's 360 degrees. Or it could be any multiple of 360. So it could be 720 or any other number that you would go ahead and multiply by 360. So 360 degrees takes it right back to its point of origin. And at that point, it's the exact same triangle as what you began with. Okay, here you can see that ABC has been rotated 270 degrees, and now it's ABC prime. The blue one is the prime. And over here on the left-hand side, you can see that we have A and A prime. I want you to take a good look at those. And you should be noticing some similarities. So here we have -4 and 6, and here we have 6 and +4. For B, we have -2 and 1, and for B prime, we have 1 and 2. And for C, we have -1 and 4, and for C prime, we have 4 and 1. So you see that they're the same numbers, but they have just switched places and signs. So we're going to talk about that a little bit further. Okay, so it's showing us our coordinates for A, B, C, D. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to drag it 90 degrees about the origin. So first thing that we're going to do, I'm going to go ahead and drag it 90 degrees, and there it stops, and then it says label the vertices of each one. So each corner we're going to label. So this corner up here is going to be over -2 and up 5. This corner is going to be over 0 and up 5. This corner is going to be over 0 and up 1. And this corner is going to be -2, 1. Notice that as we are doing that, this one is also A, this one is D, C, and B. Go ahead and look. So for A prime, we're going to have -2, +1. B prime, we're going to have 0, 1. C prime, we're going to have 0, 5. And D prime, we're going to have -2, +5. Once again, you should notice that our numbers have swapped places and we have changed our signs. Okay, and we just want to show the arrow notation to be able to show that. So this is what your arrow notation should look like for each of those vertices. Okay, your last question on your note says point P has the coordinates 3, 0. If you rotate P 270 degrees about the origin, what are the coordinates of P prime? So we're rotating it. Here you can see the red dotted line, and that's what I'm going to ask you to do on your homework. So make sure you know how to do that. And then we land at P again, P prime, and you notice that both of them are 3 points from the origin because it just rotates around the origin. So that's why that makes sense. So our points, our coordinates are going to be 0, -3. Okay, don't go ahead and finish up your notes. I have one more thing to show you, and I want it written down as well. Okay, I'm going to have you take a quick look. Your starting point is at 1, 2. When we rotate it 90 degrees, you're going to see that we're going to land at -2, +1. You notice that when we're doing that, you have switched, you flipped your signs or your numbers, and you have changed one to be a negative. Okay, you don't get to pick which one. Let's take a quick look. If we're going to start at 1, 2, that means we're going to go over 1 and up 2. It's going to look like this. Then when we rotate it 90 degrees, we're going to go ahead and move that 90 degrees. We're going to flip our numbers and we're going to land at -2, 1. Okay, from there we're going to rotate another 90 degrees. When we do that, you notice that our numbers flip again. So now they're back to our original one, -1, -2. So that's going to be in here. And you notice that that's really 180 degrees from our original point. Once again, we have changed one of our signs, but we flipped our numbers back. So at the 180 degree mark, we're at the exact same numbers, just one is positive and one is negative. And then the last one is going to rotate one more time, and we're going to land at 2, -1. So right in here. And then from there, we're going to rotate back up to the 360 degree mark. Okay, so each 90 degrees that is rotated switches the numbers of the ordered pair and then changes one of the signs from a positive to a negative or the other way around. Okay, so just make sure you have that written down in that example so you can use that as you're doing your homework in class. Thank you so much. Have a good night.